Shanghai and their scientists who have created this computer chip in a fiber that is thinner than the human hair.
This is crazy.
Yet it can withstand the crushing force of 15.6 tons. 15.7? Can't handle it. 15.6? It'll be able to withstand it. So I'm going to share what this looks like. This is a pretty crazy looking piece of tech here.
My gosh, dude. Fibers are highly durable, capable of surviving significant bending, stretching, even the force of a 15.6 ton truck. 15.7 can't do it. 15.6. Yeah. I'm dying at that, dude. That was so funny. 15.61 can't do it. 15.6. Oh yeah,
no
we're
problem.
good. No problem. It's so nuts. He was talking about how like in a year or two I might be obsolete. But he was saying that you're really seeing AI companies and people who lay over like the foundational LLMs like Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT. They're just building something, they're laying it over one of the big three large language models, and they're just saying that they have a new product that's AI, when in reality it's just an overlay of Claude. It's just Claude wrapped up in a box, with nice wrapping paper. And
good evening, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Ben Tech Show. We're your hosts, Ben and Ethen. We've got an exciting episode. Ben, what do we have going on tonight?
Today's going to be fun. Not a whole amount, quantity-wise of news, but the quality of news is pretty interesting. First, we got Elon with his space exploration, SpaceX and X AI. How many X's can we throw in these names, man? They're combining.
At least one more, because we've got True Social, which is an X.
Yeah, that's true. We got so many X's coming up. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the combination there, the valuation, what their plans are, the future, et cetera, et cetera. And then we're going to talk about also AI, Nvidia. What is going on with Nvidia? What are they doing with their products? What's happening with stocks? Man, it's just wild times right now. Bitcoin, man, Bitcoin's dropping.
I know.
Things going nuts right now. So we'll talk about that. Then last but not least, after Nvidia, let's see, what else do we have? I'm blanking right now. We were just talking about
The
it.
fiber computer.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Dude, this is the craziest stuff. I don't know how they do this. I just want to see the devices on how they build stuff like this. But fiber chips, man, from China. It's crazy. Smaller, thinner than a hair. It's insane. Blows me away. So with my brain fart out of the way, got that out of the way, let's dive into SpaceX and XAI. What's going on with Elon? What is he doing with the companies, their status of ownership, and then also what their plans are for what they're going to do in space?
So you're probably a little bit more knowledgeable on this than I am. What I understand, SpaceX and XAI, which are two of Musk's companies here, are going to be having a mega merger just prior to the IPO of SpaceX that is up and coming, meaning that this is going to be about a $1.5 trillion IPO, which is insane. Too much money.
I cannot believe we're in the T's, man.
I know.
No one can truly understand how big of a number that is. Just so nuts, and it's record breaking. Some people, when the first news was breaking that they were combining the companies, some people were even saying like 3 trillion, and realistically that's not going to happen. But people are speculating, 1.3 to 1.5, which is so nuts.
Yeah, this is insane. With that, though, there's going to be some pretty cool theoretical innovations. I think one of their plans was launching a data center in space.
Yes.
Because, since we don't have enough resources on Earth, let's move it up into space so that we can utilize the vast void of space for our data center.
Yeah. We were talking about this at lunch, myself and some coworkers, and apparently it's more cost efficient to potentially build it in space. I'm sure this is all theoretical since it's never really been done, but the idea is to build it directly in space and then somehow bring it back down to Earth or just keep it up there. I think it's for like satellites and other products that they want to build. So building it up in space and then, yeah, saving money, making it more cost effective so they can compete at a more aggressive level than what producers are doing right now on the ground on Earth.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about gravity. So
yeah,
there's that.
Or real estate, right? It's like,
right.
We don't just have land that is limiting us. We're 3-dimensional build anywhere we want, baby.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Now we just got to worry about the Z-axis.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's kind of nuts. I'm really curious to see what this will look like. I wonder if we'll get any type of footage. I'm sure we will. What would footage look like of product development and just how quickly this is going to happen?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I know Elon talked a little bit about harnessing the sun's energy for the power solution for this. And I think that's going to be really good because, with it being in space, you don't have to worry about the sun setting. So you can have unlimited power as everybody needs that, and then potentially take over the galaxy and become an emperor with that unlimited power.
Yeah. How soon until he starts building the planet destroyer, Like, when is that?
I mean, we already have the AI Death Star that's already out there. I mean, it's taking up all the resources and it's just there to kill us all. So
yeah,
we've got the Death Star already.
Yeah, kind of nuts.
Yeah, I think SpaceX, they've been seeking permission to launch about 1 million solar-powered satellites to help with these data centers, which is far beyond anything that is currently deployed as this one. So it's a really large-scale thing, and it's going to be an orbital data center system. I'm not sure how it's going to work, but I'm interested to see how it will be. Things that were once sci-fi are now starting to become reality.
Yeah, definitely sci-fi stuff. This is sci-fi stuff. What do you think the downfalls of this are? What do you think the risks or downfalls of this could be, doing it in space?
I think one of the risks and downfalls will be depending on like how far away it is from the Earth, it coming back into orbit and coming back down to Earth, or getting caught by random things that are already floating around Earth.
Yeah.
In orbit.
Yeah.
Getting hit with that. So I know everybody that works there is extremely smart, and I'm sure they've figured out these contingencies, but I think that that's going to be a challenge for them to come up with. What are your thoughts?
Totally agree with that. And I didn't think about it until I read one of the articles that were talking about this. Apparently there's actually a lot of debris up there. Also, when they're building and constructing, usually there's waste, there's trash, there's garbage. You can't just, you can, I guess you just leave it, but it's not going to go away unless you launch it into like deeper space, right?
We have a Tesla up there, so
with a mannequin going. But yeah, so I think that's an aspect, but I just think also space complicates things just because I think and maybe I'm wrong. I'm not a rocket scientist, not space expert, but I would assume it complicates things just given the environment that it is, which is, oxygen levels, spacesuits, gravity, no kind of like laws of physics really that it's held to. Yes, laws of physics do apply, but it's different from how people interact than laws on Earth because of gravity, right?
Yeah.
And so I just feel like that might make things more complex. The learning curve will be different, and the time to complete projects, at least at first, I think will be a lot more difficult. So, and that's where I'm like, are they? I don't know how much risk they're factoring in here. You know,
Right.
are the cost savings worth the risk of trying to do something in space that's never really been done before? I don't
Yeah,
know.
it's really interesting. And it's interesting that this is coming out now kind of around the same time that NASA's talking about their Artemis launch and their trips around to the moon and exploration around that. And so, I think with NASA finally coming out with some positive things that they're doing in the part of space exploration, it's almost as if Elon may be saying, hey, I'm going to one up this. Let's build a data
Yeah,
center up in space.
fair point. Doesn't want to lose his contracts with the government, I guess. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe NASA says, let's do this in house because we're progressing ourselves, but kind of does feel that way. Wants to stay relevant in the news for space technology, space development. Yeah.
So, but I think this is really cool. I think it's awesome that, we're thinking a little bit outside the box and trying to solve some of the problems of, how long it takes data centers to be built here on the ground and the time and the energy and the cost of that. So it's interesting to see how we're taking an alternative look at those.
Yeah. The whole satellites using the sun for solar power is really cool. I think
Yeah.
that's pretty sweet. I'll say. I like that a lot. It's like I just don't think about these things, and so when I heard about that, I was like, "Oh, that makes a lot of sense. It's actually kind of cool." Yeah. So, but I can't imagine that's cheap though to launch up there and try and build up there. Like the initial up the cost to go up and send supplies up or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I think it might be hard, but I think now that SpaceX has learned how to catch things as they come back to
Hmm.
the Earth, I think that's helping to maybe mitigate the cost.
Yeah, they're Falcon rockets, right? Aren't
Mm-hmm.
they called the Falcon? Different
Yeah,
Falcons, Falcon 5 and stuff like that.
yeah. So, guess if they can catch boosters, maybe they can catch everything else.
Hopefully, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what happens with the ownership of SpaceX and XAI. What happens when they go public? Because it's not a matter if they go public. They are going to go public, from what everyone's saying, what Elon's saying, and it's going to be record breaking, from what we understand. I wonder if their stock will crash and burn. I wonder if their projects will literally crash and burn. Hopefully not for either, but it'll be interesting. What is crashing and burning right now, Ethan, is AI, man. Maybe not crashing and
AI.
burning, but it's crashing. AI
It
is
is.
taking a tumble right now. Tell us a little bit
Yeah, it
about that.
is. I think people are starting to realize that nobody has made any money off of AI yet. And it's not doing exactly what we have all been promised that it would be doing at this point in our life. So, kind of the big thing that I've seen is Nvidia is starting to cut production of their gaming GPUs to prioritize AI chips. Generally since the 90s, Nvidia has launched a gaming graphics a GPU every year. So we've got at least some sort of iteration. Last year we had the 50 series iteration. This year we were allegedly going to be getting the 50 Super series, with next year having the 6000 series. Now with all of that being delayed, Nvidia is really taking away from the thing that kind of put them on the map, and putting it all into this theoretical area of AI where they're just circling money by giving it to Oracle, who's then giving it to OpenAI, who's then giving it back to Nvidia. So it seems really strange that they're doing this, and I think with all this, where it hasn't made any money, and people are starting to see that, it kind of seems like the bubble is starting to burst a little bit. What are your
Yeah,
thoughts?
no, I agree. I think also people are just a little hesitant because they see the overuse of AI as a terminology without real, I mean, there is progression, but people
Hmm.
are hesitant because they're seeing it not to the extent that they expect or what people are hyping it up to be. Technology is moving fast. In AI, yes, large language models and agents, it's moving very fast. What's being done today is not going to be tomorrow or the next week. It's going to be moved on from and changed. But at the same time, I think people are starting to think like, okay, cool. We have all this AI and agents and everyone's implementing AI in their technology, but at the same time, like, is it really adding that much value or not? And I think people are starting to pump the brakes a little bit
Yeah.
and realize it's not quite there yet, and we're just overhyping it. So I think people are just getting a little bit of a reality check. I think people are a little scared too of what's to come, and so they're hesitant to really move forward and dive into the deep end. That's just kind of my thought on what's going on here. And I think also too, there's just a lot of like differentiation between companies that are pumping out AI. I mean, it's kind of hard to track everything right now, and so it's easy to get lost in it.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of causing people to just like, let me wait for this to kind of let the water clear and let things to be established. Um, I don't know. I think people are just getting a little bit more hesitant instead of, like I said, not dumping, but jumping into the deep end.
Yeah, I agree with that. And adding to that, as we were kind of talking a little bit earlier, it's almost like people are a little bit fed up with it. Like we've been getting all of these promises of what AI is going to do. And
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's been a lot of great strides. We've seen a lot of great innovation, but it's also not what we've been promised. We've we've kind of been led along so far, and it's just like this is going to keep coming. It's going to keep coming, and it hasn't come yet. So, yeah, I think it is progressing fast, but we keep getting promised that it's going to progress faster than it actually is able to.
Yeah.
And so, I think people are getting a little frustrated, and especially like last week we talked about Tesla stopping production of the Model S and Model X in favor of their AI robots. And I think Elon's made the comment that there's going to be a time where people forget that Tesla ever made cars. Is just a wild statement to me that, all these people are investing so much into AI when we're not making any money off. They're not making any money off of it yet.
Yeah.
It's almost like they need to build the foundation a little bit more before they
Yeah.
go all into it.
Exactly. And that was kind of my thought when I was saying earlier is like people are kind of just waiting for the dust to settle and for the smoke to clear. And right now it's like the wild, wild west of AI. And I think people want to wait for frameworks and infrastructure to be built a little bit more stability. I think there's a lot of fear right now around AI and what direction it's going in because it is changing, like it is changing very quickly. And there's new models being pumped out weekly or not if not monthly. And so I think people are just kind of like, this is just all too kind of crazy. Let's just see what happens here. How's this going to impact jobs? How is this going to impact our daily lives, etc.?
Yeah. And I know like in my line of work, I get to hear a lot of vendors and what sort their solutions are. And every time I hear them say, yeah, and we have this AI that's going to solve this, I'm just like, I could care less about what your AI is going to do at this point. We have 10 million other vendors that have AI too, and it's just really
Yeah.
annoying.
Yeah. I was talking to someone yesterday at a networking lunch. We were talking about Anthropic and Cowork. They just released Cowork, and that's legal AI and he's a lawyer at a private firm, and he was talking about how like in a year or two I might be obsolete. Um, but he was saying that you're really seeing AI companies and more so people who use or develop their own company and lay over like the foundational LLMs like Gemini and Claude and ChatGPT. He's like, these entrepreneurs, they're like, he used the phrase like taking a gun and they're a point, shoot, aim. And instead of like, they're just like shooting and aiming after, like,
Yeah.
they're just so quick on the trigger. They're just building something. They're laying it over one of the big three large language models, and they're just saying that they have a new product that's AI, when in reality it's just an overlay of Claude. It's just Claude wrapped up in a box, with nice wrapping paper. And like he was saying, I even think sometimes maybe we're seeing that with OpenAI and Anthropic and Google, where point, shoot, aim, they're like just pumping out models. And in reality, it's like, where are we going with all of this AI? And what's the end goal here? What's the purpose? But I think because there's so much hype around it, people are like, just throw it all out there. Just give the people AI, It's like,
Right.
let's make it a little targeted. And so I think there's some fear around AI, and that's why people are pulling back in the markets.
Yeah. And the sad thing is like, I understand why they they follow that logic, because there's just, everybody's doing it. And so you've got to really go as fast as you can to really stand out among all the other noise that's out there.
He's like kind of keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, exactly. And, back before social media ever happened, keeping up the Joneses was basically within your own little neighborhood, because that's all you had eyes. But now we have Instagram, so you see everybody's what they've got, and so it makes it really hard to keep up with that. And that's kind of the same with AI. It's like we see everybody because everybody's marketing about it, and so now they just point, shoot, and the name.
Yeah, and marketing is marketing. And so you hear the capabilities of something and you think, man, I have to build my product that's as good or better. So you hustle to try and build whatever the marketing numbers or metrics are, which in reality may not be the case.
Right.
I know for me, when I worked at a software company that had smart features, our marketing team really leaned in hard to those smart features. And when I worked with clients, it was like, let me show you. So I think there is a little bit of that. There's a little bit of over promising, and maybe not over promising, but like heavy promising, and maybe not under delivering, but light delivery of the over promise or the heavy promise. But yeah, pretty nuts. I will say it reminds me of the story of American aircraft manufacturers. So right now, everyone knows America has our two main fighter jets, and they're not dogfighter jets. This is Ben, the airplane buff Ben coming out right now. Okay, so keeping up with the Joneses, metrics around marketing metrics. It triggers a story in my mind. Okay, so listen, we have two planes right now, the F-22 and the F-35, and we love to say how these can't be beat. And the reason why these were created was because we kept Northrop Grumman and the other American manufacturers, they're getting marketing news overseas of what Chinese and Russian planes can do. And they're like, we have to be able to beat these numbers. And they're taking propaganda numbers and they're developing planes that real quantifiable numbers and metrics are crushing these propaganda numbers from overseas. And that's how the F-22 and the F-35 were born. And if you look at the numbers, like the F-22 is an early 2000s plane, and it's still the dominant plane right now. Yeah. And if you look at the history of spacecraft, and I'll relate this to AI, I promise. If you look at the history of aircraft in America, everything you see right now is usually 20 years behind what we actually have in development. Okay. Mm-hmm. So in 1960, we developed the SR-71. It was accidentally shot down in the 80s, and America said, okay, fine, we have this aircraft, and it's the highest and fastest flying plane we have. F-22 built in the early 2000s. It's 2026, bro, and it's still dominant aircraft right now. It's crazy. So just imagine what we have behind the curtain, you know?
Mhm.
Anyway, that to me is like, I'm assuming the big AI companies, they're hearing these numbers and they're just thinking, we have to beat these metrics. We have to beat these numbers. How much computing processing power can we generate? And that's probably why Nvidia is shifting their focus to pump out more AI chips, GPUs, and less gaming, because they're seeing the demand from these companies, and it's just causing them to really focus in and lean in hard and just kind of be frantic with AI and developing it. Kind of nuts.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I can see that too. I mean, with gamers, they upgrade their GPU maybe once every 3 to 5 years. So that's not like a huge margin for them. Whereas AI companies, they're gonna want to upgrade every 5 seconds because they burn through the GPU already.
Yeah, that's true. Fair point. Fair point.
So,
Well, go
but
ahead.
you know what hasn't burned through yet? Shanghai and their scientists who have created this computer chip in a fiber that is thinner than the human hair.
This is crazy.
Yet it can withstand the crushing force of 15.6 tons. 15.7 can't handle it. 15.6 it'll be able to withstand. So I'm going to share what this looks like. This is a pretty crazy looking piece of tech here.
My gosh, dude. What the heck?
Yeah. So this has, I think, yeah, this packs 100,000 transistors per centimeter in this, and it's it's a very strong, and I'm not even sure what you can do with this, but I think like having this type of technology opens the doors to a lot of future iterations in what computing power can do.
Yeah, this is crazy to me. What blew me away, so I didn't see that picture that's at the top there that looks like a hair tied in like a little knot. That's so nuts. But what was cool, which I hadn't seen before, was they layer the different transistors and then they roll it up. And I think,
Ooh.
rolling it up allows it to be stronger and have like support around it. And that's kind of what makes it the rope style. And I thought that was pretty cool because I haven't really seen that before.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, especially because we're in a world where we have a lot of wearable tech now, and the goal is to make it as sleek and as slim and minimalist as possible. So I think this would have like a really good application in those, especially like when it comes to augmented reality glasses that we all want that don't look like these massive goggles. Actually look just like a regular pair of glasses. So I think this would be like a really cool application for that. The only problem is having a battery that could be this small, because that ain't gonna happen anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure. It's pretty nuts. This is from researchers at a university in Shanghai. Is that right?
Yeah, it came from uh, Fudan University in Shanghai.
Dude, I can't get over the durability. Fibers are highly durable, capable of surviving significant bending, stretching, even the force of a 15.6 ton truck. 15.7 can't do it.
Can't.
15.6. Yeah. I'm dying at that, dude. That was so funny. 15.61 can't do it.
Can't do it.
15.6. Oh yeah,
No
we're
problem.
good. No problem. It's so nuts. So crazy. Wow.
Yeah, it supposedly according to the article, it has like the power levels of your standard desktop CPU, which is crazy. So what that pulls about 300 watts if you're really maxing it out. So that, I mean, that's a lot of power to go through such a small application.
Mm-hmm. Dude, Taiwan right now, they're looking at the propaganda numbers. They're starting to sweat. They're thinking, we gotta beat these guys.
They come out with this and like, well, we've already won the war with this.
Right. Yeah, this is crazy. Yeah, I'm really curious to see where it will be applicable and what will be implemented. I wonder if they can get into like mass production and who they would go with. Probably Chinese manufacturing, of course. And yeah, I wonder if this will change the game. I wonder if it could be replicated by other manufacturers. So,
yeah. According to the article, it says that scientists foresee the device makers in fields such as brain-computer interfaces, especially being interested in this because it's as flexible as brain tissue is, and it would work well in that application.
Interesting. Elon and Neuralink are just licking their lips right now.
Yeah. This could also be useful in like VR applications because you could have like wearables for your VR rig, so which would make it feel pretty indistinguishable from ordinary fabric.
That's cool. That's so cool, actually. Probably expensive wearables, of course.
Yes.
But I wonder if it's going to be like TVs. When TVs first came out, they were just incredibly expensive, insanely expensive, and then over time, you had more manufacturers and competition, so the price drove down, and they became more and more common. Maybe, in 25 years or so, that's what it'll be like, or less, given how fast things are changing.
Yeah, it could be less. I mean, now with TV prices, the latest news that I've seen with TVs is that the TV manufacturers are finally admitting that 8K TVs are not really worth it anymore, and they're going to stop. They're not going to produce as many of that line. I think it's because, at that application, I mean, you're far enough away from your TV, you can't really see. That pixel density doesn't really make sense as it would like in a computer application where you're much more close to the screen.
Yeah. How much, like the naked eye can only discern so much from that distance. So, yeah, makes sense from a TV manufacturing standpoint. Plus, they're crazy expensive.
Oh yeah, and they weigh like 15.6 tons.
I've never tried to lift one up, but I imagine, that's probably really, they're probably really heavy. So, well, that's cool. This development is unbelievable. It is just incredible how thin it is and small, and blows me away, honestly.
Yeah, size doesn't matter.
Yeah. Good things come in small packages and small sizes.
It's great the way that it is.
Yeah. Really nice and humble and caring things come in small packages.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Who
are loyal and generous and giving.
And will never let you down.
Never let you down outside of maybe size, but it doesn't matter because those other things are there in that small little package.
Exactly. So with that, we hope you really liked our video. Give us a thumbs up if you liked it. That really helps out our channel. If you didn't like it, that other button seems to do all right as well. Send this to somebody you dislike. I'm sure they could use it in their life. As always, ring-a-ling that ding-a-ling button so you never miss out on any content as it's posted on the channel. Until next time, stay classy and have a great evening.
Peace.